Everyone, Eric Watson here, freelance writer, player of games, writer, voyage, recorder of videos, and a tabletop role-playing aficionado. Welcome to Patron DnD, where platinum level patrons and I get together to play Dungeons and Dragons via Discord and Roll20. These sessions are entirely supported by patrons of patreon.com/roguewatson. Patrons also get exclusive access to private videos, custom 5e content, and participate in monthly DM roundtables. These Patron D&D games are not live streamed, but are recorded for your viewing pleasure. You can watch more D&D sessions, reviews, and crafting streams on my YouTube channel, read recaps at roguewatson.com, and listen to all of these shows with the Rogue Watson podcast available wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow me on Twitter at Rogue Watson and join our Discord server with invite link in the description below. Our music is by Kevin MacLeod, and our amazing original character art was done by Jimmy McClure. Welcome to Chapter 3, Episode 1 of our Empire of the Ghouls campaign, designed by Richard Green and published by Kobold Press. This session, I'm joined by patrons Brandon, playing Bahn, the Kobold Bard College of Whispers.
Hello.
Christopher, playing Rye, the Shadow Fae Black Powder Sorcerer.
Hello.
Quarry, playing Lucian Drago, the Dhampir Clockwork Soul Sorcerer.
Hello.
Dory, playing Io, the gearforged Circle of the Moon Druid.
Hello.
Genocider, playing Kovac, the ratfolk Dawnblade Rogue.
Hello.
Previously on Empire of the Ghouls. After defeating the Ghost Knight captain in the tower, the party finally made their way into the inner bailey of Castle Orzelberg. In the highest rooms of the tower, they found General Grimslade's treasury and a rudimentary floor plan of the castle, along with an ominous note by Vukas Shroudson. Though they had successfully sneaked their way inside the castle, their infiltration would soon turn into an all-out assault. The party battled undead hounds, gargoyle sentries, and Darakul chefs, before finally reaching the captured and infected spear maidens in the dungeons below the castle. Sister Ilva, their leader who possessed the Holy Robes artifact, had been taken upstairs into the chapel, the first in a dark ceremony. The party hurried upstairs through the great hall and burst into the chapel just as a red priestess dealt the killing blow to the captured warrior. General Grimslade drew his weapon alongside the Darakul Shadowmancer Vukas Shroudson, and the slain spear maiden arose as a feral ghoul, but the party's surprise ambush gave them the upper hand. The battle was swift and brutal, with Torben avenging his wife's death by ending the unlife of Vukas. The general himself soon fell, his magic greatsword clattering to the ground. The entire castle waking up to alarms, the party had to hightail it out of there. They grabbed the general's sword and Ilva's holy locket, met with the other maidens, and hurried down the secret tunnel, collapsing it behind them. The spear maiden's knowledge and expertise, the group was able to make the long journey north through Krakovar with minimal danger, arriving in Jost weary and exhausted, but alive. The map. We could look at the town. And you all have enjoyed a week's worth of respite, basically. High Priestess Yagoda is relieved to see the spear maidens alive, though saddened by the loss of Sister Ilva. And over the next week, she provides extensive healing and restorative services to everyone, which means all lingering injuries have been cured, all infections have been healed, everything. Start fresh. And holds a funeral ceremony for their fallen sister. And for rescuing most of the Spear Maidens and dealing a harsh blow to Morgau and the Ghoul Imperium, Yagoda, along with Archduke Avgost and the dwarven leadership of Jost, offer a special reward to all of you, a collection of magic items from the Reavers' treasury. Which, for folks watching, I've already told the players that they can select a magic item of uncommon rarity that is listed in the player's handbook as a special you completed Chapter 2 reward, with the one restriction that no 2 items can be selected, because I had a panic attack that I'd suddenly have to deal with 5 wands of magic missiles that everybody was pulling out suddenly. Yeah, that would have might screwed up the balance a little bit on that one. So we also leveled up to 6th level, and you got all your fancy 6th level powers from that, but more importantly, I just want to know what magic items you guys got, and especially if they require attunement, because that is something that I keep track in my own like DM notes. So I guess we'll start with Bahn. What magic item did you select as a reward?
I have a Periapt of Wound Closure. It's a pendant that stabilizes whenever you're dying at the start of your turn. In addition, whenever you roll a hit die to regain hit points, you double the number of hit points it restores.
Okay, so clearly shoring up a weakness of Bahn's meager
Bad constitution.
constitution. Yeah, that does exist, so I can add that into our journals.
So Bahn has to trade in the ruby necklace that he picked up from the Red Sisters early in. He's been feeling bad that he's been carrying around the Red Sisters things after Alaric had his situation with his sister. There's a little bit of him maybe putting that off to the side and deciding that protecting himself is more important than showing off his trophies, essentially.
After dealing with numerous wounds and debilitating
Yes.
illnesses. Yes. All right, pretty good. Now, according to my notes, that is your second attuned item. You also have the Ring of Poison Resistance.
I believe I also have the Circlet of Blasting.
Really?
So it would be
I
my
missed that
third.
one.
Yeah.
Does that require attunement?
So when I double checked last night, actually, I believe they all do. I guess the Circle of Blasting does not.
Yeah, it's not listed at it in Roll20. It's not. I did have it noted that you had that, but I specifically have like, here's the magic items they have, and then here's the attunement slots they have open.
Okay, then I was wrong. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Io, tell me about the magic item that you were interested in.
So Io is going to take a bag of tricks and lean into her chaotic side a little bit and get in touch with nature again. She is going to do the gray bag. So she has a little gray pouch that she carries now, kind of on a sling around her, across her one shoulder. And you see her kind of fiddle with the bag a little bit, and she says, sometimes I feel more comfortable and confident in the presence of animals. So I think it's important that we spread nature's goodness wherever we go. So that's what she's opting for.
I may have to add these individually as you pull them out to the game, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem. And I believe this also does not require attunement. And Io, weirdly, according to my notes, I don't think you even have an attuned item at all.
I do not.
Although you are carrying a +1 shield.
I am. Are you adding these to our character sheets, or do you want us to?
No, you guys need to keep track of all your magic item stuff. I'm adding these to the Roll20 journal, so they're there as like handouts.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely
So
plug that stuff into your sheets. What I can do, I wasn't quite prepared for this session, but I can make you a macro in the future that is a that will randomly roll the animals, because I believe we did that for our Realm of the Frostmaiden campaign. In fact, I'm trying to remember. I think we've had more campaigns with bags of tricks than without. In my experience, it's a fun item. I mean, I can be a semi-Pokemon master, okay. Kovac, tell me about your magic item.
Kovac is going to go for the Bracers of Archery. So give him proficiency with the longbow and a +2 to damage rolls made with bows. But I can't use longbows because I'm small. So.
Okay. Seem equally adept at both bow and blade. Is this just to make the bow a little bit better, or just fits your build? Yeah. Archery. Looks like your first attuned item. You also have a +1 rapier.
Yep.
Archery. Put that in there. All right, cool. Do they look pretty fancy to you, or do you think they fit, or are they like scuffed up and nasty looking to fit your general attire.
They probably looked nice when I got them, but just somehow now
When they
look like
attune to you,
crap.
they fit your look a little better.
Yeah.
Stuffed up. Lucian, what about your magic item?
Lucian went with the Medallion of Thought. There's 3 charges, and while you're wearing it, you can use an action, expend 1 charge, and cast Detect Thoughts. I thought that kind of fits in with his quiet observer kind of mentality
Yeah.
that he has. Yeah, we'll see where we can go with that.
Medallion of Thoughts. Wearing a skull necklace. That's going to turn some heads. Looks like that may be your 3rd attuned item. Be the first one of the 3. I had a Vial of Sunlight and Bloodstone Spell Gem. The other 2.
Yep. Wait, Bloodstone Spell Gem. Okay. Yep.
All right. And Rye, what was your magic item?
I chose the elemental gem, the red one. So Rye would have seen that red gem and instantly thought fire, and got a little twinkle in his eye, and only saw that gem once it appeared. So yeah, red corundum.
Or
I guess
Corundum? Yeah.
how to corundum. Yeah.
The picture looks cool.
Yeah. Like, how could I not just keep looking
Just
looking
a
at
boo
that?
and Disney's Aladdin just reaching out for the forbidden gem.
Exactly. Yeah, so I could smash it and then summon a fire elemental.
Yeah, that's a hilarious big one. A lot of you took obviously long-term bonuses and abilities, and Rise is like, no, just fucking this giant like nitro one-time use, but it's a big use for sure. Conjure Elemental.
And it could go bad.
Yes, so you have to maintain concentration as if you had cast the spell, which I do love that twist of that spell. It doesn't go, the elemental doesn't disappear, it no longer obeys you if you lose concentration.
Yeah, so definitely going to take that into account.
Throw it in a room and close the door.
When I use it, yeah, absolutely. However, it does not require attunement, but you should have me down for 2 attuned items. The Wand of War Mage and the Mantle of Blood
Vengeance. Yep, that is
Vengeance.
correct. Correct, yeah. So we're kind of all over the place with attunement. Some of you have none. And then we've got a 1, 2s, and 3s, yeah. But hopefully everybody's at least got some kind of, at least a magic item. And part of the reason I did this is kind of for a little bit of an out of game thing. I feel like this campaign has been a little bit low on magic items from my point of view, and I know I tend to probably burden my players with magic items. Guilty of that. But just looking at chapter 2 and then even looking at chapter 3, I'm like, all right, well, this is kind of a good excuse to just give everybody a little bit of a buff, and it's experiment with just letting you all kind of choose versus giving you a limited selection or something. So don't get used to this. I won't always sit there and be like, oh, you completed a chapter, here's a bunch of magic items. But I thought just for at least a one-time little boost in power, you guys could pick something fun.
The 500 gold was only if we didn't take a magic item.
That's correct. Yeah.
Both?
If for some reason somebody was like, I don't need anything or I don't want anything, just give me the money, then I would technically want to balance it out by letting you have the money. But the DM was hoping that you all would accept having the treasury open to you. And also, I guess I would like to ask what kind of downtime activities that everybody does. I mean, you've been on this, chapter 2 was 10 sessions long for out-of-game purposes. In-game purposes, I mean, weeks and weeks of travel at this point. And you all were able to arrive in Jost and have a little bit of downtime in between the chapter. But then whenever you left to go all the way down to Warsaw, you did the the Blood Vaults adventure, and then went down to the ruins of Yarosburg, met the Spearbanes, and then went to the Castle Orzelburg. Like, it's been a long time away, so you guys are definitely, I would presume enjoying some downtime activities. If anybody wants to volunteer if their characters have been doing anything special or noteworthy while in this town that's relatively safe to you all, which you have not been in a safe town for a hot minute. No.
You go first.
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay. So Rye has been going through rehab, right, for the leg, but it has been like running around the city, getting his stuff up. He's now got up to 44 hit points now. So really putting that endurance in. And he's been working, his bullets are now magical, so he's been kind of really trying to harness, putting his, magic innate into the bullets that are now magical. And he picked up a new spell, the Hellfire Blitz, which should go exactly how it sounds. And then gave up one of his other spells to get a level 1 spell, Burning Hands, more fire.
Wow.
But to get that level 1 spell, because last time he had level 1 spells, but he only had mage armor. So he was trying to really fine tune and work on his other spells to kind of get that stuff through.
So your next adventure, you're going
without burning
into,
any of the city down.
You're going into a volcano with a bunch of fire immune enemies. I'm sorry to say.
Well, that's the price some people pay. You can't win them all, right?
A good theme here. I'm very scared looking at your spells.
Although I did a replace, and it didn't remove slow burn fireball from my list. I have to manually pop that.
Yeah, the character monster can get a little fiddly once in a while. What else are folks doing? Bahn, what's Bahn been doing in the downtime?
So Bahn was probably who's got the robes?
Oh, that's another good question. Yeah, technically, I mean, it's not campaign critical that somebody attunes to them, but story-wise, like, you could be considered, you basically did most of this chapter to get those magic items. So it'd be kind of weird if somebody was like, all right, we'll just put it in our stash or something. I can share it again. And we have that blade as well. Obviously, we have two players who aren't here in this session, so they also have a say at getting some magic items. But
is it kind of a given that Alaric's probably the one holding the robes? Or are the sisters holding the robes?
I actually don't even know who swiped it originally. I have to go back and check the notes on that, but I do know that you have to be good alignment to even attune to them.
Yeah. So if it's if nobody objects, I'm going to argue that right now Alaric has them.
Okay.
And so Bahn's been bugging Alaric to let him have them because he can keep them protected. Alaric keeps putting himself into harm's way, and he'll keep encouraging it. But the problem is Alaric is running through whatever. I won't say mental anguish, but he's decompressing from the series of events, right? So he's been hard to reach, and probably has mostly been ignoring Bahn, which is driving Bahn nuts. When they go shopping, I believe that they probably go shopping together. Bahn's trying to bug him, and so when he picks his periaptive wound closure, I think Alaric was picking the periaptive health, from what I understood, which is around the same time that Lucian starts to pick out the Medallion of Thoughts. And so as he picks up the Medallion of Thoughts, Bahn probably starts to get a little more anxious, and then I think for the rest of the time just avoids Lucian whenever they're in the city, and is for the most part, he is relaxing, spending time to himself, and spending as much money as he can pampering himself after this long trip.
All right. Io, anything specific that you've been doing?
You're muted.
Oh, yep.
Thank you. I imagine that since I was also tending to Alaric, I probably would have noticed a little bit of the scenario that was happening
Oh,
between
for sure. Yeah.
he and Bahn.
No medallion of thoughts
And-
needed for that.
Well, no,
Just
and so
making some mental note of
the
that.
thing is that Bond keeps trying to get Alec by himself, and it's kind of not possible on this trip. But Bond keeps trying to get him by himself, and then with your, because don't you have like a 20 percept or wisdom or something?
21 passive.
Yeah, 21 passive. Yeah. So there's no way Bond can hide it from you.
And I know, I just know that he is carrying the robes, but in his current condition, can't really wield them at their full power. Because he's got some stuff to work through before he can be able to wield those. And so I do make note of that. But I also don't want to be helicopter team mom. And so I actually, I wanted to try to find some uninhabited areas, maybe like outside the city. I definitely wanted to get back into a situation where I could touch base with nature a little bit more, spend some time in my wild shape, which is kind of where I feel more comfortable at this point versus around people. And also just kind of practicing some of the new things I wanted to learn with my spells. And if it would be allowed, with my newly acquired bag of tricks, when I went out into, I don't know if there's any kind of forest or area outside the city. Just looking at the map, it looks like there might be something I could kind of escape to outside the city walls.
You probably have more luck with beaches because obviously it's a coastal town. But yeah, you'd have to go a little bit further to get to forest. Okay. But they're certainly out there. Yeah.
I would, with the DM's indulgence, I would love to just mess around with my bag and try to, pluck out some animals. And my goal would be to see if I could study one of them long enough to add to my wild shape, since I now at level 6 can do up to a CR2 creature.
Oh, okay. Are any of those an upgrade for you?
The giant elk is.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't think, given the amount of time that you have, I don't even think we need to make a roll for that because you would, have all the time in the world and the animals are under your command to summon. So it would seem like a pretty trivial thing. But I appreciate that you would work through, like, that's what you do during your downtime is you summon and then, like, go through this, like, hilarious montage of learning how to shift into those forms.
Oh, man, this again. And yeah. So,
damn it, 4 badgers in a row. What the fuck?
No, they're all natures. They're all God's creatures. So, I'm very much in tune with them. Just pet it, and it stays around until the next dawn. So, I just would basically, I can have 3 friends out at a time.
Yeah, 3 per day.
And so, yeah. So basically, I would check in with the group, obviously, not become MIA, but definitely want to get out away from people, kind of go through a little bit of my druidic training again, reconnect with the nature, reconnect with the animals as much as I could.
Io, the Disney princess.
The birds flying under my hands.
They're telling me I have to prepare a giant elk now for token purposes. I can. Genocide or anything that Kovac has been doing?
Yeah, Kovac's gonna kind of scout the city, looking for like those little thieves' cant symbols. Maybe find some secret areas. Look for any Dawnblade kind of factions that might be here. I'll conspire with Bahn to steal the robes from Alaric. And
Fantastic.
start a new family.
It turns out these robes are gonna tear the group apart. Holy shit, the giant elk is huge, literally. My goodness, that is a chokster. Yeah, you probably don't find any Dawnblade specifically, but you definitely find dwarven reavers who are more than happy to share tales of fighting undead. And appear to be pretty accepting of a ratfolk, especially one that is just absolutely like badass looking when you walk in. Lucian.
Yeah, so on the way back, watching, I'm worried because we're all licking our wounds from the previous battles. He has been paying particular attention to Alaric, though, because as Bahn mentioned, the mental anguish he's been going through. So Lucian, whether you noticed or not, does not really particularly embrace or is proud of his vampiric side as Alaric is. He's never known his father. In fact, hates him for what he is. And the only time Lucian's exploited that side of himself is when it benefits the cause, like getting past a checkpoint, intimidating a guard, or something like that. And in fact, so far in his life, he has resisted temptation and never tasted blood. But he must still feel that connection with Alaric, like being a fellow half-breed. And whether he's correct or not in his assessment, he thinks deep down that Alaric might feel some of that same pain and fear that Lucian does. So Lucian, in an attempt to inspire and get Alaric back in the right frame of mind, where he's needed, will roll up his sleeve, where you see on his inner wrist this intricate tattoo of this ornate quill pen that's tightly wrapped in the grip of the stem of a rose. And its thorns are piercing into it, and there's blood dripping out of the wounds down into an ink pot. And he will use his finger to write on a piece of parchment and say out loud, Alaric. And where Alaric will begin to see words begin to appear on a page. And they say, remember that sometimes it is only in the shadows of our darkest moments that the guiding light comes into focus. And he will pat him on the shoulder, get up from the table, and leave him to his thoughts.
Yeah, I think I have inspiration for that one. That was way
Cool.
above and beyond.
Whoa!
Dang,
Thank
that was
you,
cool.
thank you.
Well done.
And then I will unattune to that Illuminator's tattoo, which was my fourth thing. So yeah, I actually had four.
Oh, okay.
So I will now unattune to that for the time being.
I missed that one, but I appreciate the RP.
I forgot when you said 3. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm trying to count. Like, oops. So taken care of though.
After a week, High Priestess Yagoda, which I have a picture. Chapter 2. Oh, thought I did, sorry. requests your presence for a meeting at the Temple of Sif. And in the main sanctuary, she greets you and says, "Thank you for coming. It bears repeating. You have my gratitude for rescuing my sisters. Queen Ursula chose well when she put her faith in you, and I will do the same, for we have need of you again. I have been..." Just groan.
I wanted beach time.
Yeah. I have been following up on the letter you recovered from Orzelburg. Shroud Sun, which I can share. Letter as a reminder. Shroud Sun is certainly known around here, and I'm glad you ended his unlife at the castle, but this Radomir Marrow Blight is new to us. What's not new is the Creed of All Flesh, a cult of Verdezane worshippers who engage in barbaric cannibalism. It's a small but growing movement against the Riva dwarves of Wolfheim. Jost has been receiving more and more dwarven immigrants in recent weeks, and many speak of escaping the cult's influence. I fear what is happening in the Northlands, and this wedding ceremony mentioned in the letter, it must be something to do with dark gods. We do have a lead for you. Across the Nidar Straits is a sea cave known as Reaver's Cave. The cult is spreading that would make a good place to start looking for answers.
How far is this Reaver's Cave?
On a ship, it is about a 5 days journey, and I can help you with that. Of the least I can do. The Osprey is captained by an old friend of mine, Sigurd. He's made the trek back and forth numerous times across the straits. I vouch for him with my life. He has agreed to take you all north.
Is it a merchant ship? Is it a ship built for speed?
It is a long ship. It is favored up here, and especially on the Northlands, able to withstand the cold seas and the rough waters. It is definitely built for speed over comfort. She looks at Bahn.
I was gonna say Bond's face is just like
Chin gets longer and
Yeah.
longer and longer.
where did you say we're going? Wolfheim?
She nods and says, yes, that is the land of the Reaver dwarves. They are a fierce people, and honorable in their ways. But this new cult is just pure evil, and it appears it has been spreading amongst their people. This cave, from what we've learned from speaking to Reaver dwarves who have come south here to the Wolfmark, Reavers use it to rest and restock between raids. And it would be a good place to start looking for any answers to this cult or any darkness and evil spreading across their lands.
This was the all flesh, right?
She nods. And yeah, you
Well,
all have encountered the cultists previously, I believe, on the road.
Were these the humans that are trying to become?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and that's something that you all learned about, and Yagoda is only vaguely aware of, but you can put your information together, and you would know that this cult is generally not undead, but they are people who are trying to ascend to become intelligent undead. Almost like a spellcaster would ascend to become a lich so that they can, be immortal and live forever. This creed of all flesh, they believe that by consuming enough flesh and behaving more like ghouls, that they will be deemed worthy by the Darakul, which are the big sentient undead. Obviously, there's vampires as well, but this is more from the flesh-eating side rather than the blood-drinking side. And they believe that they will be chosen by the Darakul to be infected, and then because they've ascribed, they worship the hunger god and they eat flesh, then they will then become Darakul. And an interesting thing that you've learned about and you've witnessed in the Blood Chapel is there doesn't seem to be a way that you know of, or even that the Imperium knows of, to guarantee somebody becomes Darakul when they die while infected. In fact, you noticed they were disappointed when the Spear Maiden arose as simply a feral ghoul. They thought that maybe they had figured something out. So it's still a concern. It's always been a concern of the Imperiums that they literally can't make more Darakul at a very... I mean, it's not like they're completely... You can make more, but it seems to be very rare, and they haven't figured out, what are the ingredients that make it happen. Most people who are infected and die, they turn into just feral ghouls. Semi-feral, I guess.
I heard the words cold and grueling trip, and I zoned out. What did you say? We're going to see the Reaver dwarves in the Reaver cave?
No mistake. The reavers, they can be a dangerous bunch. They can be honorable, and they can be murderous bandits. You will most night. She will kind of slyly say, this is not a diplomatic mission. You will be going into hostile territory, and we would not send you unless we believed this cult's influence was that strong that you would be meeting these cultists themselves, perhaps.
So these aren't the same dwarves that are trying to fight back the undead.
No, and they're not the exact same. The dwarves that that was south in the Canton. So these are not the same dwarves. Although
I guess what I was thinking was with Jost. Jost was founded on the Reaver dwarves,
by Reaver
wasn't
dwarves.
it?
Yes. So it's a weird thing where she's saying, kind of hashtag not all Reaver dwarves, but
Not all dwarves know each other.
yeah,
Bahn.
but they're also, and in fact, maybe the ones that landed here are maybe trying to do something different and settle down, versus the ones up there are still very much more wild and
Crazy guys.
wild
Okay.
and crazy
Yeah.
guys. And also, she hesitated because there's undead everywhere, but there is undead in the north. There's a bunch of fallen kingdoms that have become basically undead, and the Reaver dwarves do fight them. Because the undead are basically enemies of everybody who's alive. So to say wait, don't these guys fight the undead? Well, yeah, kind of everybody does. That's not dead.
Okay.
They're so yeah, but also she's more concerned that a lot of Reaver dwarves have fallen to this particular cult. She also mentions, I have one more piece of assistance that could aid you. The Holdra. Should you need any assistance in the Northlands, you can find help with the Shield Maidens of Holdromos. The Holdra are Trollkin Shield Maidens, ruled by a pair of queens and utterly devoted to the goddess Sif. They know their lands. They have fought dearly to keep them safe from the dwarven reavers of Wolfheim and the fallen kingdoms of the north. Use my name, show them those holy robes you are now entrusted with, and they should help you should you need any help north, and should your adventures bring you further north.
That's not promising.
And Holdromos is actually on your map. It is confusingly the name of the region, and there is a large city called Holdromos as well.
That looks really mountainous.
These are the Northlands, they say, are some of the most beautiful, unspoiled region in Midgard. But if you are unprepared, it will eat you and spit you out.
Bahn gets up, like dusts off his legs. He's like, "Well, it was nice hanging out with all of you." No, if this is what is gonna stop this, I suppose I'll go along. Alaric's heading there, right? With the robes.
Presumably Alaric would be on board, I would think.
I guess I'll come then.
Bahn gets a side eye from Io.
I go where the robes go.
He's a Wotan follower as well, and that is like Wotan HQ basically.
Okay.
All the Viking Norse gods are basically all running around in Northlands.
Just for clarification, when you said the Reavers are falling to this cult, are they joining the cult, or they're being overtaken? They're fighting them off.
You don't know. We're not quite sure of, and that's partly, maybe a fact-finding expedition as well. You're not, she only has bits and pieces of stories and things she's heard, but it's becoming increasingly concerning. And then that letter that you all brought kind of confirmed the fact that there's something dark and evil happening in the Northlands. And then she's heard tales of this cult. It sounds like this cult is spreading its influence in terms of people are joining. And like I said, you could put two and two together. We'll be like, well, a lot of spellcasters want to be liches because they can become immortal. So maybe this cult is being popular because people think they can become immortal undead by running up without the whole pesky spellcasting bit.
And this is High Priestess Jagoda that we're talking to.
Yes, right? Yes. I thought I could pull up a picture of hers, but she was one of your main folks. There she is. Let's see if I can do it. Oh, I guess it's just a token. Okay. Slap that token on there then.
How do you spell her last name?
Yeah. Jagoda. She's the High Priestess of the Temple of Sif in Jost. And she was the one, basically you went all the way through adventures to finally talk to her about where the robes were, and then she let you know about the Spear Maidens, and then that's what had you go on your big adventure in Rakovar.
So, our goal, is it intel capture, or is it clear the area? What?
She's leaning toward, and you know that the Sif and everybody, they don't fart around. Like they're kind of warrior priests, I guess. Like she's like, if reavers, you can work with them, or you might have to just kill them. Like it just kind of depends on how they're feeling, really. But especially this Creed of All Flesh, like definitely kill those guys. Like that's like that's not good. So she's sort of giving you, you obviously don't need to get a permission from her, but that's where she's leaning towards on that. And in general, she says the entire Northlands are kind of like that. She's like, they respect and live by strength and survival. Like even the most prestigious war chief like has to survive and pull their weight like everybody else does.
So are these guys going to help us after we get rid of their little cult problem, or are they even going to know about it, or like why are we just sailing across the ocean to help these assholes?
Well, they're not.
Yeah.
Fuck these guys. That's a fair question. And mainly she's worried that, reavers, again, they're not necessarily evil. They're just, can be aggressive and violent. But, on the other hand, they found, they helped protect the city from the undead. But if this cult's influence starts growing too much, then she's worried they're absolutely going to turn like bloodthirsty evil, and maybe even like, instead of fighting the dead, maybe allying with the dead, because this cult seems to have pretty good, close ties to the Imperium. Because obviously,
a bunch of undead reavers.
That would not be good. So that would certainly be a problem. Yeah, and she's specifically worried also about the ceremony that is mentioned in the letter you guys found. She doesn't know what that's about. The last paragraph says the transformed spearbanes would make an excellent wedding gift for the coming ceremony. The creed of all flesh spreads further north. Soon it shall spread all around of Midgard. So she says that's all pretty worrisome.
And I'm sorry to make you go back over it. Do we know who's getting married?
No, you don't know. You haven't heard anything about this. You don't know what's... You have no clue what this is in reference to. Bahn's like, should I bring a gift? I don't...
Yeah, right, yeah.
I don't know
How
what
they
the way
register
totally
it somewhere. What's the second cheapest thing on the registry? Napkin rings. All right.
Where it says the creed of all flesh spreads further north. Soon it shall spread all around Midgard. Is there a way for us to know, or can we get the idea whether or not they're saying that's a good thing or a bad thing from the author's perspective?
You get the feeling that would be a good thing from the author's perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, that seems to be what they are excited about.
Okay, and I have one more question just for clarification. We escorted your royalty, Lucian, the Archduke. Did we leave him here in Okay.
Yep.
And so have we checked he's fine, he's safe?
I was kind
secure.
of waiting for somebody to mention him during the downtime and see if somebody wanted to check in with him or anything.
I forgot.
Yeah. He is here, and he's pretty busy. At some point he probably tries to schedule a lunch or something with you all, and to hear about, because he is legitimately interested in Krakovar. As much as you get the feeling that he can be kind of a pompous political asshole, he does care about his occupied country, and he's especially wants to know about how are things, and getting real anecdotes from all of you. But a lot of his time is spent still trying to form an alliance with these reaver dwarves. And he, of course, will say that, progress is great. We're really, having some talks and stuff. And you get the feeling he's just pure politician, and you have no idea how it's actually going down. But he's been keeping pretty busy. Are there any other preparation things you all want to do now that you know about your mission north. Possibly some fur shopping. Cold up there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Was like we get the vibe that it's going to be cooler and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I get a tail warmer, rat pack.
Tail warmer.
I was going to say I have a 1-hour heater that we could bring with us.
Nobody ever goes cold with Rise around.
I'd probably like to get climbing gear just in case.
Ooh, he went from I don't want to go up there to well, we have to scale any mountains. I'm gonna bring my own grappling hook.
Well, he's not good at it, so he needs as much help as he can get.
Some pittance.
And yeah, he'll buy like a if it's available. It might not be available here, I guess. But like a big fur cloak.
You can generally find pretty much most things that are available in the player's handbook in Jost. And yes, they obviously, especially because they have a lot of reavers coming from the Northlands and maybe settling down here. A lot of them may be ditching their, fur cloaks for lighter wear. So it's actually probably a whole store of furs.
Okay.
Gonna take Io to get winterized.
Winter. Gotta get special oil.
Io has a bag of tricks. She has a bag of furs.
That's true.
I have a dagger.
Ooh.
We've talked about the debate of this. Like, as long as the animal stays alive, everything stays okay. It gets really morally sus at that point.
I was thinking like a raincoat to make sure that I didn't, rust on the ship or something.
Yeah, and when you finally see this ship, like it's not like a hunk of junk or anything, but it's definitely you almost feel like the riverboat you guys were on was more comforting than this. Like, and you're gonna be out at one point like in the sea without any land visible for probably a couple days, and it's not it's very, very tight quarters. The Osprey is an old but well-maintained longship. Captain Sigurd's dark blonde hair is graying to match his thick beard. He gives you all a hard stare and a curt nod. Captain Sigurd, the Osprey. Sail the northern seas all my life. Sif be praised. Any friends of Yagoda are welcome on my ship. Any of you have any experience on the sea?
I'm afraid I do not.
He sighs.
But it is an honor to sail with you just the same.
Advice is to do what you're told. Stay out of the crew's way.
Is dinner like formal? Do we have to dress up?
Just stares at you very hard and awkwardly. If you're gonna throw up, put over the side.
When we look out over the ocean, how is the chop? Is it like?
It's not too bad from where Jost is, honestly.
Okay.
But yeah, assuming you guys are climbing in, and it's cramped. There's about half a dozen crew, including a woman that he identifies as first mate Svenja. And it's about half of them are. It's an oar ship, a long ship with just a bunch of giant, paddles, and then there's a sail. But it's pretty damn snug, and you're literally expected to kind of sleep like under these like slats and things in the boat. It's not very comfortable. But thankfully, it's only supposed to be a few short days. How do you guys react to being on a? It's fairly smooth at first, but then once you start leaving, you head. You basically can hug the coast for probably the first day. So it's kind of a nice scenic path going north by northeast, and then at some point you pass Skogerholm, and then start heading into the strait itself. And then things get a little choppy and ominous, and the wind whipping by, and that salty air hitting you. I think this is the first time we've actually been on the open ocean in this campaign.
Bahn loves it.
That's actually a pretty good con roll for you.
Yeah.
It's
Bahn
definitely a
loves
new
it.
experience.
He's like with the parka that he's got with the fur cloak thing. Yeah, I think he's out in front whenever he gets the chance. Like one leg up on the edge of the boat.
Just General Washington crossing the Delaware.
Yep.
I need a fan picture of this. Exactly in the classic General Washington, like just
Right,
but with a kobold and a raincoat.
Spend a couple hours on mid journey.
Mm-hmm. How do the rest of you deal with the new environment?
Kovac's never been on the ocean, and he could probably barely, if at all, see over the side of the ship. So I'm just gonna stay huddled down.
Oh,
Probably miserable.
just soaking wet. All the sprays crashing around.
Yeah, just trying to stay out of the crew's way.
I was gonna say Rye is trying to keep all the gunpowder dry with all the ocean spray.
Literally everything you do is fire based on a fucking wooden boat in the middle of the ocean. Thankfully, nothing. I guess you have guns on you, which obviously does alarm Sigurd. Although you can tell he's also seen a lot. Like, all of you have very exotic, things about you. So he tries to take it in stride, but he definitely looks a little worrisome when you were packing literally flammable equipment left and right. On the good.
I'm just trying to stay dry and maybe raise Kovac's spirits a little bit.
Oil can.
Lots of fish. It's all fish, by the way. It's a lot of. There's some fruit and some salted meats, but they tend to just eat fish for everything. On the third day of this, and it's kind of getting increasingly miserable, honestly. It's just not a nice, pleasant journey. Svenja calls out while holding a spyglass. "Whales, Captain! A whole pod! Swimming fast from... There it is. A ship. Reaver colors." See Sigurd grimacing in the back of the ship. "Oh, whale hunting. Bad bloody omen."
Dude.
So they're shooting the whales with like harpoons, or they're just chasing them, or nets.
Do you ask? Because right now Svenja's the only one that can actually see.
Yeah. Like, what are they hunting them with?
Yeah.
I don't know why I got his accent on.
She pauses for a second, like she's looking through and trying to ascertain, and she's like, "Yes, looks like got at least one harpoon gun mounted on the ship. Definitely hunting." And after another minute or two, you can hear this like wailing. I was gonna say a wailing cry, but literally the whales are giving off that that really just beautiful melancholic whale sound that kind of echoes off the water.
It's good.
Willie.
Yeah.
And Is the ship that we're on have any mounted, ballistas or
It
harpoons?
sure
Or
doesn't. You are built for speed and ferrying people across the strait. You are not built for hunting whales. Sigurd and the crew looks very dismayed at this. Like they don't like this situation. But Sigurd so far doesn't look like he's gonna turn or anything. Looks like he's gonna keep. He looks like very like just kind of grimacing and annoyed, but he looks like he's still staying the course.
How does Io look?
Io does not look happy, but I do recognize that there is a way with nature. So
the
I
whale's
guess-
natural predator.
I
The
guess what I
reaver
would ask, I would ask Sigurd, maybe not necessarily in this moment, but in the days that we were on the ship, what kind of experience he has specifically with the reavers to try to get some intel from him, and whether or not he's like lukewarm, hot, totally ice cold toward them.
Yeah. He definitely adopts a kind of defensive, annoyed stance. Reavers, just fancy word for sea bandits. Always causing trouble. I think the ocean is a playground and they're the biggest kids. They want everything. He seems to have a pretty poor opinion.
Since Io was being nice to Kovac, Kovac is going to try to convince Bahn to convince Sigurd to intercept the reavers.
Well, yeah. So as part of that, Bahn will say,
What is it that they do with the whale? I mean, is it not like a dog that chases after a wagon and it doesn't know what to do once it's got it? Or do they use it for like sustenance? Or
He'll
Different parks.
he kind of looks at you like you're stupid. Like whales are full of value. The bones, the oil, fat, everything.
so you're just jealous that they're able to do it and you're not because you don't have a harpoon? Is that what it is?
It's a bad omen to hunt.
The most valuable thing in the ocean?
Yes.
Okay.
Io is literally sitting over there like in meltdown mode during all of this. They are basically farming these animals for wealth.
Yeah, and Sigurd does share the opinion that is very wrong. He seems to have a high opinion of whales and believes that hunting them is just a terrible like sin you could commit. Basically, he would think it was less sinful that the reavers attack ships and hunt other people. But he's like, hunting whales, like that's just fucking like that's bad juju.
Well, I mean, do you think we could take them?
How far away are we?
He glowers, and I mean, pretty good distance away, but you wouldn't be too much trouble to turn slightly and intercept him. But he glowers about that and says, "You know the reason I've lived as long as I have?
Because you're scared."
Yeah." His frown deepens into a level he didn't think was possible. Don't make trouble. Don't follow trouble. I know this ship is capable of. I don't know what you're capable of.
Bahn cracks his knuckles, stretches out, and he'll say,
I think all you have to do is get us close. If you're worried
150
about
feet.
repercussions, just lower your colors.
He looks upset about this, but then he looks to kind of the rest of you and the crew in general.
Do the whales look like they are they running away from the ship, or are the whales just kind of ignorant to the fact that they're being hunted at the moment?
It is a full-on. I don't know if you've seen the latest Avatar movie, but it is a which, by the way, great whale hunting bit in there. That's definitely a James Cameron doing Save the Whales. It is a ship that is following a pod of whales and definitely trying, as if it was like a lion hunting a pack of, gazelles or something, and trying to skewer one. And they are going at speed.
How far away are we?
You are. You're getting to the point where it looks like Sigurd wants to start veering away, because you would be, because you saw it, you're coming this way, and you can see the other ship. You're basically kind of almost parallel, but you can tell if both of the ships keep going at their current speed, you may actually eventually hit the same point of intersection. So he was looking at maybe turning and going in a different direction. But you are rapidly closing the distance, and right now you're probably 200 feet in closing.
80 more feet. 80 more feet. Just give me that.
I only need 50.
He looks very alarmed whenever you start pulling out any kind of flammable things.
Oh, I'm holding like a small flame in my hand.
Oh,
Ready
God.
to go. Get us closer.
He looks to the crew, and the rest of the crew actually seem like they're kind of on board with this. They're obviously, none of them are built for fighting, but they are all very upset about hearing these crying whales and having this happen, and maybe for once having the ability to do something about it. So Svenja finally, puts down her spyglass and says, "Captain, maybe this time." And he sighs and says, "Maybe it was meant to be. If Rhoda sent you all here on this trip, it's a sign from the goddess. Very well." And he kind of turns his wheel slightly, and everything lurches, and you all actually turn even to go near the ship. Now, you do note you will not have any kind of element of surprise, because you're a fucking ship, and you will be visible at the same distance that they would be visible to you. But otherwise, you can start telling me what your plans are and things, and I'll...
Bahn rushes to the prow of the ship. No, just Bahn rushes to the prow of the ship, and when he gets a little closer, so the range of hypnotic pattern is 120 feet, and so when he gets a little further in within range, that's one of the new spells that he spent time learning on his downtime. He intends to use hypnotic pattern to try to stun however many people he can on their boat.
Okay. Assuming you communicate that with your allies, then
Yeah.
And you said that was 120 feet?
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody else have Rye? You might have something that coordinate or something, but we can look at executing something at that distance.
Well, I was gonna do fireball at 150.
Kaboom!
150 range on fireball. Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if we can stun of them first, and then fireball them.
I mean, yeah. Let me know.
So if you guys look over at Io, her hands are kind of working together, and you see droplets kind of forming in between her fingers. And I was going to cast Sleet Storm. But if you guys are throwing fire into
Song
there,
of fire and
then-
ice.
Still them all, yeah.
and that's a range of 150 feet.
Yeah, holy crap.
How long is the other boat?
It looks like it's a pretty similar size to what you all have. It's just kind of wider and thicker, but you're looking at probably like 50 or 60 foot ships. So not like huge, humongous, man of wars or anything.
Because mine's a 20-foot radius. I'm not sure what the sleet storm is. We could really mess them up.
Fireball.
Yeah, I'll just post it. I'll post it so you can read it. Sleet
40
Storm
foot
is
radius.
40-foot radius, 20-foot tall cylinder.
Whoa! Now, here's the tricky thing about Sleet Storm, though, is the ships are currently moving. So if you cast a ongoing spell at a point, that the ship would soon be beyond that point. Does that make sense? Because you'd be targeting a spot. I mean, it would still go off when it happens, obviously, but assuming the ships are still in a moving state, then that ship would then kind of go beyond that spot at some point. But it would certainly at least affect it once. Although it would douse flames. So the timing would have to be very careful.
I mean, the other thing I could do is I could enhance your fireball with Call Lightning.
Outdoor range spell.
Yeah.
Oh, how close? How close did you say we were?
You're 200 feet and closing.
I'm just saying, if they fall into this pattern, they can't take actions or reactions.
Do it.
All right.
What's
I'll
your plan, Lucian? What are you doing? Are you going to levitate the whole boat?
The flying
I need to be closer. Full speed ahead. Yeah, I don't.
You can levitate Bahn 30 feet further.
As the boat continues going.
Zoom.
We could tie a rope to him. We can parasail. Yeah, I'm not. We're not close enough for me to do anything yet.
Okay.
I do have some thoughts though when we get closer.
How close do you need to be?
Pretty close.
All right. So clearly now the other ship, and now it's pretty visible on the other side. You can see from this distance as you're closing in. There looks like it's about as much crew as you have on your ship, maybe a little bit less. And you see what look like large goblinoids wearing actual armor and just armed with swords and bows. You also see humans, including one that is operating a large harpoon gun. Behind the wheel appears to be a large troll-like creature, but dressed in leathers and having weapons and things. And they obviously are now fully aware of all of you and kind of shouting and looking over at all of you. And when we get to, what do we say, is 150 feet is when you're all looking at doing something.
Well, hypnotic pattern is 120 feet.
Okay.
I guess
Well,
Bahn
we're
would
gonna
wanna
hit
get,
we're gonna hit the 150 first, so I'm just gonna ask if anybody wants to do something then, because essentially at 150 is when we'll probably end up having to start initiative, given that we have those kind of range options.
Yeah, so my call lightning is 120. So I have to wait for the 120.
Okay.
Oh.
So we will start with combat at 150, because everybody seems to be, all the enemies on the ship are now obviously very much paying attention to all of you, seeing everything that you're seeing, and looking like a lot of these goblinoids have longbows, which you may figure out those have pretty decent range, that they were also waiting to be in range at a certain point. Before we start this, however, I think it's a good time to take a break. And then we will fire up with this naval combat sequence. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes. y'all ready
See,
to return from
works.
break? Thumbs up, yes.
Yes, Eric. Just a reminder:
Yes.
the badges that you were giving us, right?
Yes, sorry, I should have gone over
we
that.
have
Yes,
those?
yes. Let me stop this. Yes, you were all given these. So I totally forgot about that. These special badges with the Krakovar kind of heraldry on them, little pin things you all have. And as long as you have these, you can communicate with each other telepathically. Doesn't require attunement or anything like that, and it's kind of unlimited use, but it is tied to you all, and it's technically while you're wearing them, and then while they're in use, they kind of glow softly. Just it would be noticeable for others to see it.
It's a party chat, though, right? Like a party line.
Correct. Yes, and there doesn't seem to be a way of specifically talking to. It doesn't have channels.
Yeah.
So everybody can hear everything.
As soon as we're in range, all you hear is fireball.
Somehow my webcams got messed up. Did somebody change their name while we were on break?
No.
Oh, no, there we go. No, never mind. I clicked on the wrong one. Okay, here we go. Multiple ones. There we go. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. All right. We are going to go to this map. I'm going to have everybody roll for initiative. You see an enemy ship. For these guys.
Great. The one time I don't want to go.
Eh.
Are you doing it like a round counter, and then every round will be so much closer or further?
Generally, unless a ship is disabled or something, you imagine you are both kind of hurtling towards each other, but obviously not like it playing chicken or anything. You're kind of coming up on the sides as the rulers come out in full force. And none of the crew or anybody are rolling initiative. They are not combatants in this, although you've got the captain is still essentially piloting the ship. You all are on. And no surprise around here because everybody is fully aware of everybody else, and they appear to be perfectly hostile to all of you. And yeah, it looks like Lucian, you actually are going to be the first to do something if you want. Like, we're at 150 feet, semi theater of the mind, although obviously I wanted to have something on the page here for us to look at because that's easier to handle. What are you gonna do?
I'm just gonna hold my action. Yeah, I got nothing yet. Like Ray of Frost or something, if you know.
If we get to within the range.
Yeah, I think it's 60 feet. So, yeah. Otherwise, and then I'm gonna just kind of duck.
Okay.
Behind the rail, if that's possible.
Yeah, I think in general people probably have is it like maybe half cover on a ship. Is that +2 AC, I think? Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, +2 AC. All right, and these large goblinoids are armed with longbows, and that has technically it has a firing range of hundreds of feet, but without disadvantage, they can actually fire at 150 feet. And you're all, I'm not going to be very picky about like, oh, you're slightly closer on this side of the boat because it's all kind of nebulous range at this point. But we're going to let fate decide who gets peppered with a bow, and it's Bahn with his leg up on the prow of the ship.
Come on, you bastards!
Yeah. And we'll see if this longbow. 15 as the arrow comes sailing in.
Yeah, that does hit.
The first shot hits you for 6 6 piercing damage. And you can hear a war cry start up on the other ship. And now the one with the harpoon gun now definitely like rotates it around and aims it in all of your direction. Rye.
What do I see at the rear of the ship? This guy and like this guy.
So you've got the wheel is located here, and you see a large, what looks like a troll, but wearing kind of almost classic pirate gear, leathers and hat, and has like a cutlass at their side. And then there's another, also looks like a troll, but is adorned slightly differently. And then the rest are either violent-looking humans or violent-looking big goblins. Hobgoblins.
All right. So I'm going to cast Fireball, and I want the dude in the harpoon to be like the top side of my 20-foot radius.
Okay.
And then I'm not sure how to scale this is. Like how far, does it hit everybody but the captain? Is that what this?
The captain's actually here.
Like,
Or,
I thought you said this guy.
Yeah, it's all right. The wheel is located right here, so actually you do hit the person driving the ship.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can get all of those with a cast of Fireball. They do have half cover thanks to the ship itself, so that gives them a +2 to deck saves, but go ahead and roll that thing out there so I know what your DC is. 15.
Oh my goodness.
Boy, that is a really low damage Fireball. Look at that.
I'm
2, 5, 2,
yeah.
surrounded by water, guys.
you shoot it as a wall of water like comes up, ocean spray, and it like fizzles like half of it out. Yeah.
I feel so ashamed.
Because they have a +2, I don't think I can use my macro. I'll have to do these individually.
It's +2 even if I'm like, because Fireball like comes down straight, right? So like they're not a +2 in that regard because it's not linear. It's not like a pistol shot or a rifle.
That is true.
Like once the Fireball hits, they don't have any cover. I would argue.
I appreciate the argument, yeah. But I'm gonna say that they, because of all the rigging on the ship and everything they have to do, there's ways they can try and dodge out of the way a little more effectively.
Try to lower the AC.
So it's 50. You're really appealing to the court. All right, deck save. I'm not gonna bother switching them around because there's too many different kind of here. This is the harpoon one, which +2 does give him a 15. Which is Fireball's half damage.
+2 gets added to their decks too?
That's what it says on. It says for half cover has +2 bonus to AC and dex saving throws.
Sweet.
Yep. And you guys get the same bonus.
Well, yeah, I mean, I rolled such poor damage. So,
So Bahn would
I have nobody to blame but my character.
would that have hit Bahn, that longbow?
Yeah, would I have had +2? Nah, I was on the front of the ship. Thanks for trying, but I'm fully exposed on the edge of this ship. No,
Specifically, I'm hanging out.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, no,
practically
blind
the what do
ticket.
they call it? The masthead or something.
Yeah.
All right, hobgoblins. So we've got all of them, 5 of them. So that one fails. Even with a +2, and takes 19 fire damage, screams, and immediately is engulfed in flames.
Wilhelm scream.
Number 2, same thing happens. Also screams. These guys do not have a lot of hit points despite your low roll. Number 3 just barely makes it, ducks behind some ship cover, but doesn't look like he's in very good shape. Golly. Number 4 fails, screams, and dies. Number 5 fails, screams, and dies. So even despite the cover and despite your low roll, you still killed most of the hobgoblins. And then we've got this human. Look at me, like, taking full advantage of the cover now. Run that one, and then the captain. Oops, not me to have advantage on that.
Does the rigging catch fire or anything?
Yeah, so here's the other effect of a fireball. Which is also good against trolls. Yeah, so a lot of the ship starts to catch on fire and starts being inflamed. And you imagine that would probably mechanically fuck up their ability to hide behind cover pretty well. Now that things are more on fire.
I cackle and then that's it.
Yeah, the hobgoblins, a lot of them screamed and died. You notice that the humans seem to be much more bulkier, although they're not armed with longbows. But one of them is manning the harpoon gun, and then the other one is looking at it, and they're both trying to like pat out flames and everything.
Did the gun take damage as well?
Technically, it's part of the ship, and the ship does take damage, but the ship has a lot of hit points. So, Kovac.
Kovac will take his short bow, steady aim, and fire at number 1, the guy manning the harpoon.
Okay.
So it should be a straight roll, I think.
Oh,
Sneak attack damage.
with a ship going at speed, taking advantage, your bracers like light
No
up.
sneak attack, but
Yeah, that's got to be so disappointing. No sneak attack.
Wait, no. What did you have disadvantage for? The
range.
Range.
8320. Yeah.
That's a bummer. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought the thing that saying
He was doing that to cancel. Yeah.
get advantage. Okay, my bad.
Yeah. So 15 damage, and that is a massive damage. DC is 10 or half the total damage. So DC 10 would be right here for con. Ooh, and fails the con save. So, Kovac, you get to roll on the massive damage table to see what other... Oh, and you stunned the harpoon guy. Just a blast from that arrow just exploded like splinters everywhere and just absolutely dazed this dude. Oh my goodness. Stunned city. All right, Io.
Okay, what is our distance at this point?
It's still 150 at this round. Yeah, it's still currently 150. You're both moving, so we're trying to, do the moving action sequence. But at least for at the moment you're in now, you're at 150 feet.
Then I have nothing other than prepare for when we get to 120.
Yeah, Lucian's in the same boat.
We're all in the same boat.
Literally.
Yeah, we are literally in the same boat.
I did not. Thank you for calling that one out.
Brum, bum.
Yeah. All right. What you surmise is the captain, this big burly troll-looking person, is like just doing the badass thing of having the arm is slightly aflame and just kind of grunts and slaps it out a little bit, and then basically just turns and uses his action to steer the ship closer, which is actually beneficial for you all. So, by using his action to do that, we go down to, we're going to close into 100 feet, which is going to trigger Lucian first and then Io with any held actions you had. This ship just goes...
Can you do anything at 100?
Still not. No.
Nope, okay.
Still not close
Okay.
enough. So yeah. So my spell goes
then-
off.
My spell would go off.
Okay.
Oops, that's a description, not a cast.
Lightning. All right, a storm cloud appears over the frigid waters.
Well, how is the weather? Is it already stormy and cloudy?
It's probably cloudy, yeah.
So I could actually control the clouds and the storm that's already looming in the sky instead of calling one.
I think so, yeah. It just
and-
darkens, like the whole thing just darkens ominously more and more.
And I will make it slowly lower toward their ship, and I will target it with it's a 60-foot radius. So basically, it looks like it's going to encompass the entire ship.
Yeah.
Each creature within 5 feet of that point must make a Dex saving throw. So I would focus fire on the captain, because I specifically hold him responsible for what they're doing.
Okay.
So I would focus the lightning on him,
Scorch down.
and then he would need to make a Dex saving throw, DC 16.
Even with, although he doesn't have cover anymore because the flames everywhere. That Rye, so now flames and now lightning strike, which also probably produces some flames. So he does fail and takes 19 lightning damage.
20 actually, because I get to do an extra D10 since I'm controlling a natural storm.
Oh. That's why I thought you were just RPing that, but yeah, I see. There's actually a extra bonus to that. I never noticed that.
It's for both.
Would you say these were stormy conditions? And I'm like, all right, yeah, sure.
Just saying.
I didn't even think about it. All right, so now he's growing concerned. First it was a fireball, and now the lightning itself seems to have turned against his ship. Sigurd kind of breathes out something like, Sif's grace. It's damned you. Control the very elements. Let's see, we're already gone. This Berserker's gonna run up to the harpoon, look at the other one who's stunned, and kind of shove him back. grab the harpoon gun, which is conveniently already loaded and aimed, and will attempt to fire. Gosh. Gonna be... honestly, Io, Kovac, and Rye are the ones he's gonna look at targeting, because you were the ones that have done terrible things at range. Looks like he's gonna aim at Io. Moon has its own stats, and you all still have cover. It's +6. This is aimed at you, Io. Oh, but he critically fails. Spins it around too much, trying to knock the other guy off. Practically just falls over as that harpoon just goes wild.
He's never used it.
No, clearly he was not the one that was supposed to be using it. And we go to Bahn.
Bahn reels back after getting shot with an arrow and looks up and sees most of the ship dealing with stuff. I guess he's still torn if he wants to use hypnotic pattern or not. He'll stand up and he'll open up his spell book.
Oh, you've been standing up with the one leg up this whole time, even after getting shot.
And well, he'll pull the spell book out. He'll look over, and he will go ahead and still cast hypnotic pattern. So the radius probably just do, what is this? That's 30. That's a 30-foot cube, I believe.
20. 30-foot cube within range. I think, yeah, fine. I have 30, yep.
So they all need to make a wisdom saving throw. And the DC is 16.
Oh boy. You, this party, a bard, 2 sorcerers, a ranged rogue, and a druid, like, absolutely enjoying this long range. This is wisdom.
Yes, wisdom saving throws.
Alright, this is the one hobgoblin fails hilariously. Got the captain. Oh my dear goodness. Also fails terribly. And we've got what looks like another trollkin, but wielding a staff. And also fails. Yikes.
So they are charmed, they are incapacitated, and they have a speed of 0.
This is the one where, yeah, if they get hit, they snap out of it?
If they take damage, they snap out of the stupor.
Okay.
But currently, they are just mystified, drooling on the
That
deck.
is pretty effective, yeah. So literally, the trollkins were all like getting ready, geared up to do some shit. The captain already has to steer the ship closer, and now they just kind of lulls, and you can see the ship, and like as he lulling, like kind of the wheel is even turning a bit, and you can see like the other ship kind of just rocking as it's still trying to go in its direction he was aiming.
And then I'll bite my thumb at them.
All right, we've got that one is hypnotically patterned. That one is legit stunned, which I believe goes away after stunned. That one is such a good move. That one is hypnotically patterned. That one is dead. And that one is dead. So we've reached Lucian. Unfortunately, with the... I guess the ship does still move on its own. Like I said, I mean, it's not like he has to keep his foot on the pedal or anything. Probably not as close as the captain was wanting. So we're going to put it at a range of 60 feet as the ship here's a little bit closer, which I think is actually what our distance is legitimately now. Yeah. start with Lucian.
Did we see where the whales went to? Did they take off? Are they still in the area?
They might be in the area, but you don't see them at the moment.
Okay.
This ship, for both of you to fight, this ship was chasing the whales, and then this ship just kind of veered off towards you guys, so the whales kind of presumably maybe kept going or dove under or something, but you don't see them at the moment.
Okay. Maybe as a free action, I would ask Io to maybe talk to one of them, bring them back, and go under their ship. And then in the meantime,
weaponize the whale.
In the meantime, I will.
First, we save them, but then we weaponize them. We teach them to kill.
I'll mind Sliver. These two are not caught.
Also, the Avatar movie to an extent.
Sponsored by.
Yeah.
The two on the bow of the ship are not hypnotic pattern, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the ships are 60 feet apart. Are we? That's the thing.
I generally, when we're targeting, I would say everybody's kind of at the same distance, just for I don't want to be too nitpicky about it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. So I'll just mind Sliver number 2.
Because that's how I've been playing their the 1 or 2 range attacks I've gotten off. Is like everybody's kind of within range.
It's an intelligence saving throw.
That's a randomly fantastic save with my -1 modifier. Turns out that is the smartest berserker. just doing the reaver thing to pay his way through college, honestly. Just sink a few ships and then, during the summer.
Yeah, that's boring on the ship. He does a lot of reading.
He does a lot of reading. It's the astrology.
Yeah, then that's my turn.
Or astronomy, I think is the
Let's see. Yeah.
scientific one.
Yep. And I'll go prone. Or at least duck.
We go to Rye.
I'm going to cast Vortex Warp.
It's the teleport one? Oh boy.
Yep. And I'm actually going to increase that to 3rd level. And I'm going to do it on the captain.
Okay. Is a con saving throw. Does hypnotic pattern fuck
He's
with...
incapacitated. It just means he can't take actions or reactions.
Yeah. So he's probably still
Okay.
I guess.
I guess he still has his fitness for con purpose. Because I think it specifically says if they automatically fail certain checks and things. Right, so Vortex Warp on the captain. It looks pretty hardy, but we'll... Oh my gosh, I had my 1 intelligent berserker and everybody else has gotten like sub 10 saves.
Alright, so
my goodness.
He's going to go to a point that I can see within my range, which will be 120 feet completely the other way. So, like...
in the middle of the fucking ocean.
Yeah, pretty much. And now there's nobody driving their ship, but we'll deal with that in a second.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Just teleported him. So he zips out, magically to a space or another creature can see within range. He teleported to unoccupied space of your choice can see within range. So like the other side, basically just 120 feet that way is what you're looking at?
Yep.
Okay. So he disappears, appears for a second over the water, incapacitated still. And
right, because I did not shake him. I'm doing this delicately.
you're not damaged, correct. He's about to have a rude awakening, which I don't know at what point he would awaken from hypnotic pattern if he fell into freezing water. That gets kind of creepy because are you taking damage while you're drowning?
He's got a speed of 0. The spell ends for an affected creature if it takes any damage, or if someone else uses an action to shake the creature out of its stupor.
But weirdly, mechanically, like he's not going to take damage if he just like hits the water and drown. I guess maybe if you count falling
when
damage.
he starts drowning, yeah.
Yeah. So he's either way, he's pretty fucked. That's hilarious, Rye. I've got to give you a point of inspiration for disposing of the captain in such a hilarious manner.
That's my first inspiration.
No.
In the books. Alright. No, you're right. It's probably not. It's not my first. It's my first one. I feel like it's the first.
Right.
Every
one
time.
Tonight.
Yeah, first one tonight.
Every time it's my first time.
That's another stat that I've been keeping track of in this campaign.
I hope you say that every time now.
Right, yeah. That's your first inspiration, right? All right.
That's what
Yeah, so the enemy ship is now driverless. But because of the way ships work, it's still kind of... now, interestingly, it's kind of careening towards your ship in a dangerous manner.
I mean, I assume that we still have a captain.
You
who's
do.
paying attention.
You do. He is paying attention. Correct. And now he's very much paying attention of like, wait, where? What?
I got that wind thing I can do too to try to blow the boat. We'll see if it gets around to me again.
But yes, now you see the other ship is now like very much listlessly and clearly like being a little more violent, and you can see your captain trying to adjust at the same time.
With that troll's regeneration, is he just going to keep drowning and then regenerating?
That's the movie, that Charlize Theron movie,
Yeah.
which is a great movie, the Order or something like that.
Yeah.
I won't spoil it because that's cool, but that reminds me of that movie with one of the characters. That's so grisly too, like constantly regenerating in the drown thing. That is fucked up. What happens if you put a troll in the water?
All right. If it's my turn, I'm going to steady aim sneak attack number 1 again. And
Yeah, legit advantage this time because you're closer. Wow, a 19 he rolls. 33. Sneak attack is more valuable than the crit.
Wait, 33?
23, sorry. I can't math. Still more than the crit, I think. Although the crit did do the stun, so that was your value. Number 1's looking really bad. And rethinking life choices. No, it's just a second arrow sticking out of him. Alright, Io, you've still got the lightning storm at your beck and call. Should still be in range.
I'm going to drop it right here at the front of the ship, which means they both need to make dex saves. DC 16.
Okay. Got an 18 and a 14.
All right. I rolled 25 damage. So on a success, it takes half. On a fail, it takes full.
Okay. All right. Number 1 is looking like he is near death after being lightning arrows sticking out and just lightning just strikes him head on. Looks like he's ready to keel over the side of the boat, and the other one is looking very heavily damaged. And now they're calling out for like assistance and realizing that most of the crew is dead or just in a stupor.
That is my turn.
All right, you hear the pitiful sounds of a captain drowning somewhere in the distance. You see the one that did try to shoot the harpoon earlier now just uses his turn to rush back towards the wheel of the ship and now actually like dramatically finally realizes they are way outgunned and starts turning the ship the other direction. However, because you all were kind of on an intercepting line, really is only makes it to let's do 80 feet. So now making some distance, but not able to do a whole lot. But it looks like they're in full retreat mode. Which at this point, I will turn it over to you all now that you see them retreating. And I won't, obviously tell you guys what to do, but it looks like you could. It looks like they just want to break off and go their own way, or try to find their captain.
So as that's happening, I can't actually do it now. But Bahn was working on casting Vicious Mockery, which is a 60-foot spell. He'll still do it. It's a cantrip. But I think what he'll do is he'll get off my ship, you lily-livered bastards! And it falls on deaf ears for any of them. But that's what he's envisioning now. He's envisioning taking over the ship. That's his ship now.
Back on my ship.
I can't. That is my action.
Okay. So essentially, you're still concentrating on the hypnotic pattern, I guess.
Correct. Yep.
All right. So these guys aren't really doing anything because they're still believe I guess the other one could try to rush down and like slap him out of it. Is that how you have to use an action to knock him out of it? Okay.
Yes.
So it can at least reach this one, and then you continue along. But they still want to be retreating. It looks like. Lucian.
I'll just wave to him.
Yeah. Right, and again, you guys tell me if you guys want to let them go, then we can pretty much end things here. But I don't want to. It's up to you all.
I mean, I think we
made
You
our
got
point.
me into this mess. now I want blood.
Well, when I look over at the captain, our current captain, what is his reaction to them retreating? Because I will signal off of that.
Yeah.
Not to put it back in your hands, but like, if he seems content and relieved that they're going away, then I will forfeit my. Turn.
No, that's a good question. And he was pretty cautious going into it, and he's very impressed and shocked by all the pyrotechnics that you all unleashed. But he's still ultimately very conservative and survival looking, and he seems to be pretty satisfied that the others are leaving. And it's not like his crew is set up to capture ships or do anything like that. Like they're just this ferry vessel, so he didn't want to get involved with this fight. And the fact that basically took out a bunch of them, kind of put the fear in them, and were able to at least stop them from successfully hunting whales, and it looks like just disposed of their captain for the time being. Maybe he can swim, but he seems to kind of nod his respect at all of you, and even calls out and says that it was mighty powerful of all of you. It looks like we've beaten their spirits. This is not a reaver hunting ship. I recommend we continue along our path. Maybe they'll get the message not to mess with this ship again. And he finally has a bit of a grin as he says that.
Excellent.
Bahn concentrates on hypnotic pattern for the entire minute.
Yeah. Yeah, and you see that ship definitely like veering away. You kind of try to see them, and they maybe look like they're trying to not take off completely, seeing where you're going, and it looks like they may try and circle around and try to find the captain, but
He's whale food now.
he's been in the water. I mean, yeah, he was like, not only been for a minute, like in the water, like it's not a good situation.
Io would, as soon as we saw them try to veer away, she would immediately kind of get down into a little bit of a meditative state on the edge of the ship and try to spend some time doing a ritual cast of Speak with Animals. And after the time passes, just kind of send out some whale song into the area, just to let them know that they should be safe and make sure that they are okay, and see if she gets a response.
Okay. You do that, and you don't see or hear anything, and to the point where you get, kind of disappointed. And then later that evening, when you're kind of, more settled down and you're going slower and a lot of folks are on break, all of a sudden the boat just like lurches suddenly very strongly. And Io, you look over and you just see like right next to you is a smaller whale that just kind of, it only gives off a little bit of a trill sound, and I don't think Speak with Animals lasts, till hours later. And then it kind of like flips its fin just up a little bit, and if you reach out, you can actually kind of brush your hand against that kind of moist, leathery. Just for a few moments, and it lasts for a little time, and then you see that whale just kind of spin down, and you can almost see in the distance there's keeping their distance is the pod. Who apparently have stuck, near you, just not wanted to quite, still pretty cautious and everything. And then that young one seems to kind of leave and join the others, and you may gain a point of inspiration for getting the whale love.
On the other side of the boat, Bahn had tied a rope to himself and was busy carving in the symbol of a reaver the way that pilots would on the side of their airplane, like put the decals. And so when it gets knocked over, Bahn like loses for a second, struggling on the other side of the boat.
I thought you were going to say you were carving your own initials in the side of the boat, claiming it for your own.
You probably did that too.
Are there quarters on the boat? Are we able to rest?
There's not really quarters per se. You basically have to kind of get a little area and make yourself a little nest. Little sleeping bags.
Are we able to...
You do not I should say that's what you're getting at. And no, and in most of my campaigns, you do not automatically long rest while traveling. You do gain the benefits of a short rest, although I don't think any of you... Okay, Bahn could roll some hit dice.
I got 14 back.
There you go. Oh yeah, you've got your necklace thing.
Only need 6 though. All right.
And then after another day's travel, you finally near your destination, and the captain then calls out after Svenja sees something in the distance, and says, "Captain, smoke near the cave." Captain says, "Someone's home. They left a light on for you." Now, it is up to you, and the captain. This is a cave in the sea, so it's just surrounded by rocks and shit. And clearly, the ship can't go into where this cave is, or really near it. So what he was going to do is drop anchor and allow you to take a rowboat, or really 2 rowboats, because I think the boats only fit 3 people comfortably. to get close to it. It is up to you all whether you want to go by day or by night.
Night, I think.
Yeah, it looks pretty obvious that by day you would have zero cover or anything. They would obviously very much see you coming. By night, it could still be tricky, but you think you could try to approach stealthily.
I vote for night.
Yeah, I think so. Are these like high walls, like, you know what I mean, sailing in? There.
Yeah, it's kind of like cliff face situation.
Yeah.
There's and there's just a little, and the water just goes into like this cave. There's a little bit of a beachy area right near, like a little beach area right nearby, and that's kind of where there seemed to be smoke kind of billowing out from.
Night.
Yeah. And Sigurd says that they've got rowboats on the ship that you can use. You comfortably you could fit 3 people. Uncomfortably you could fit 4 medium-sized creatures. He doesn't think there's any way you could fit all 5 of you in one rowboat, but you could use 2.
Bahn and I are really small.
That is true. It would still be very uncomfortable. Like, you would literally not be able to. You'd be kind of on top of each other. But I don't, if you're getting comfortable with each other, then
Day 2.
I'm gonna not ride with Lucian.
My medallion glinting in the night,
Mhm.
in the moonlight.
Yeah, so whichever one Lucian's in.
always
I'll
thinking
I'll take this
constantly using that ability on you.
That's the thing. Like Lucian probably isn't even thinking about it, but Bahn sure
Yeah,
is.
you're just paranoid.
Where are you going? What?
This is the opposite of the Jurassic Park, where they're trying to figure out which cars to be in. Like, which one are you going to be in? Like, I'll be in the other one.
Did I not wear deodorant today? What's with him?
Yeah, how do you want to divide up your boats?
Well, here's a question. Would 4 people fit in one boat safely?
You think so? It'd be more uncomfortable, but you could fit 4.
You're gonna turn into an alligator.
I could go croc and swim in next to you guys.
But do you breathe? You can just walk on the bottom, right?
Tow the boat. What are you talking about?
You don't know how
Wow.
deep it is in here, but
Now
yeah,
you're putting me to work.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just leash.
I was just curious.
just leash her down there. We're just walking our croc.
I'm
Yeah.
down with that idea.
You could. It's an aquatic. Yeah, you've got a swim speed.
All right, let's do it. And then we only need one boat.
That is true. Is that a large or a medium size? Do you remember?
Large.
So unfortunately, Bahn, you may end up in the same, unless you literally want to be on a boat by yourself. Or
No.
guys-
This is no. Bahn's on board here. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. As soon as this conversation comes up, he's working on getting in the boat, and he just and he turns around and gets into the one that everybody else is working on getting into.
I'm just trying to be helpful, Bahn, and keep everyone together. And I'll give him a little wink.
Now, I owe one.
Oh, you can talk. You can talk now as a croc.
Telepathically.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't even think there's a range to it too. I think the one that I gave you, as you
No,
just can't
you
be on
do.
Same
different
plane.
planes of existence. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's literally the like 5th level spell, the telepathic bond spell is what I used. One problem you do run into though, Io, is lack of dark vision. I think I don't know if your form has it, but it is.
Oh shit! Does a croc have?
Yeah, that'd be the only thing. It is dark. Now, there is light. In fact, where there's smoke, there's fire. So you think you'd be able to see some stuff, but it would be pretty dark still for you to, navigate through the waters.
Can we try to not necessarily light her up, but just call out directions? Because I can say I have that vision. So can we kind of roll to see how good I would be at instructing her navigationally?
Left, right, there's a rock. Ah!
Well, I imagine that my sense in the water, I can feel the waves and kind of drift along with the wave of the boat.
Yeah, I think you could follow. It would just impact your visibility to see, things that the others could see with dark vision. But yeah, you could still swim and stay near the boat. I would say that wouldn't be too much of a problem.
I was thinking if I was standing next to a crocodile or alligator 5 feet away or so, I think he would know I was there.
That's probably true. Yeah, I'm sure your what sense of smells or heat or something is gonna aid you.
Could we put out a rope and put it in her mouth or something?
You could do that as well.
Yep, I can do that.
So Sigurd mentions that they'll stay anchored for at least the next day, probably through the next evening. And he says, he hasn't heard anything from then. He just kind of looks at you all and says,
Adios.
Yeah.
And your own way back.
Yeah.
Do we have any extra patches?
No. Just for you guys. But otherwise, he wishes you guys good luck as you get in your rowboat. Io transforms into her crocagator form and enters into the cold water. It would definitely not actually suit your animal form very well. It's pretty uncomfortable. You do manage. And you all start rowing towards this cave and this smoke. The waves roll into thunder against towering rocky cliffs which converge to form a precarious inlet. The end of the inlet is a tall, tapered cave, a darker blot against the deep gray stone of the cliffs. A bonfire burns on a rocky beach along the cliffside to the west. A trio of cages are suspended above the flames. The drippings of their contents add a sizzle to the fire's crackle, fill the air with a scent akin to roasting pork.
So hungry.
Assuming you guys are, still heading up, but want to try to be stealthy, I'm going to call for a stealth check from all of you. But I will give Io Gator advantage. She is in the water.
I could have. Am I the only one that has pass without trace?
They're rolling really well.
Oh, I don't. I'm not even looking at my screen.
You had to say that.
Well, it's a group check,
remember.
so you only need what is it, half?
I don't know what to roll for the croc. Is that
Stealth is dexterity, which I will give you advantage.
okay? So croc gets a +2 to stealth. So I'll just roll 2d20 and we'll add a.
Look at that
So
advantage.
that's an 18 plus 2, 20.
19, right?
With
+2 to stealth. So
+2 to
that's
stealth,
a 20 for Io croc.
Well, it'd be the 17 plus 2 because you were rolling an advantage.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Brain.
Yeah, you all did pretty good at this.
nice.
Lucian made a little bit of noise, but the rest of you can shush him up pretty well. You are able to approach stealthily and get within about let's see.
We're like reaver seals. It's the lead covert special operations group.
That's right. Especially the eye gators like emerges with the eyes coming up. You are all able to get within about 30 to 35 feet of the beach unnoticed in your little rowboat. Now you can see the cave entrance is to your north up here. You guys are down here, by the way. See it? Down the bottom right corner. And there is this is the beach to the west that kind of overlooks the cave inlet to the north. And you can see there are, now you're close enough to see what look like 3 reaver dwarves around a campfire, and what look like those cages, what's the name? Starts with a G, I think. Gibbet, maybe? That are like person-sized cages. Very large. That are all like hanging over the fire and now just smelling of cooked meat. And then you see a giant boar nearby who looks to be licking its lips in anticipation. And nobody has noticed all of you. You feel like with another, maybe more challenging stealth check, you could continue your way to try to get past them into the cave, or you could try and do something here.
Bahn will touch his new thing, the little badge, and he'll say,
If we make noise inside, it probably won't be.
his voice is still annoying in your head.
Naturally.
It probably
won't,
Everybody grimaces every time you do.
yeah.
they'll probably just come after us.
Does it look like I can't see? So I guess he'd also ask this. Does it look like there's a walkway along the cave? I can't see anything beyond like this point.
Then you don't know. I think, who is it? Kovac? Kovac would know this. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I was gonna say I thought somebody had the good vision. You've got the good vision. Kovac, you would know that this beach does not quite continue all the way into the actual.
But they don't have a boat.
No.
Had to have gotten here somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Do I know if reavers are cannibals?
Well, this was part of the conversation you had with Yagoda back then. Is like, well, are all dwarves, doing this or not? And no, not all. From what you know, not all reavers are cannibals. Normally, at least. But they can still be either honorable warriors or just bandits. Kind of they run the gamut. But the concern is that there is a growing, this movement is growing where they're cannibals and they're all about being cannibals.
Can we see what's inside the cages? Like, are they beasts or are they people?
From this distance, it's not easy to tell, and also at night. But I will say that those cages are people-sized. There's no mistaking that.
I'm going to say I think these are the cultists. We need to kill them.
You're not sure you'd be able to differentiate between the smell of cooked person versus cooked animal, but definitely the cage looks pretty suspect.
I say we attack.
Done.
All right, let's do some initiative, and we'll be able to do a surprise round.
All right.
Remind myself to win a surprise round. I'm not going to roll initiative for them yet. That way I can just have you guys go through. Experiment with doing that. We're going to start with Bahn.
Can I use my action to get the boat, help get the boat closer? How are we doing that?
You could, yeah. You could just use your action, and there's no, like, this isn't rough waters or anything, so I'm not gonna actually even make you roll a check for that. You would just be using your action to navigate the boat. At this distance, if you wanted to use your full action to just move the boat, you could pretty much get it up to the beach.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to do.
Okay.
I'd like to use my action to get the boat on shore.
Holy crap, Bahn is volunteers to do physical labor. Look at this. I'm very impressed. Can't do multi-select with all. Okay. By the way, if you guys wanted to reorganize yourself on the ship, be my guest. I just kind of, threw you on there, but I don't think it'll matter too much because you guys got a surprise round, but somebody specifically wanted to be on the front or something, then that's totally your prerogative. All right, so Bahn uses his ambushing surprise round to quickly, get the boat up in motion. Yeah, and narrowly it's funny because you guys like crash onto the beach, and obviously they're going to be aware, but you guys are still, in the middle of doing all your stuff, so you're catching them by surprise. Rye.
Cast Frenzied Bolt.
What is this? Is this the bouncy
This is
one?
the crazy one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good damage, too.
Hey,
that's as much damage as you did with a fireball earlier, as I recall.
Yeah, no, I don't want to talk about it. So is it even? It bounces. Let's see.
So damage of a random type determined by the damage type table. Your attack roll was odd. The bolt.
No, it was not. It was even.
Okay.
It was even.
16. Yep.
So. Alright, so I gotta do a /R D10. 5. A 5 is lightning.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do the let's do it here. Oh.
Okay. Bolt of lightning comes zapping, interrupting that dwarf very rudely.
Okay, and it does not does not.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Right, Lucian.
When we get to this distance, can you make out what's in the gibbets there a little better? Or?
You can, and they definitely look like various melted and cooked people and limbs. It is very much confirmation that
okay.
there were humanoids in those cages that are now cooked.
All right.
It's more like a fry basket than it is a cage with a.
There you go. Welcome to the Creed of All Flesh. Cages are also frying baskets.
I will cast slow on that entire group then.
Ooh,
Nice.
slow as a pain.
Including the boar.
3 foot. Save wisdom. DC is 16.
Yes.
Nice.
Ooh.
Boy, we only have one that
I'll
made
take
it. Yeah. That was the damage one at the bottom. Everybody else is slowed. Clock could be, of course. Okay.
And I'll just come out here and hang out on the beach.
Okay. Yeah, and you still don't see any boat or anything, or... Yeah, there doesn't be anything around here. Alright, Io the Crocagator.
So, would I be still stuck out here in the water? Or would I have kind of floated in with the boat?
You'd still be here at the moment because the boat... I mean, Bahn used his action to row the boat closer. I don't think he was dragging you along.
Okay. Oh, because I thought there was a rope tied to me. But,
There was, then you would be anchoring that boat, and he would not have been able to. So I
Yeah,
don't think he'd
dang
have
it.
the strength. I gave him the strength to do the boat. There's no way he's dragging a fucking giant-ass crocodile with him.
come on, work with me. I only have
Starts
20
bumping.
feet. I only have 30 feet of swim speed. So
To
does
get
that
onto the
get
shore.
me enough to get to the shore?
Yeah.
Oh, well then I can get to that boar, baby.
Merge. That's exactly like they fucking do to attack, too. They just wait in the water and just to pop out.
And I will reach up. I don't know. How do I roll a bite off this character sheet? I can't.
Oh, crap. Do you need...
No, it's fine. I'll just roll a d20, so it's a +4 to hit. So I'll just do.
your own rock sheet?
So that would be an 18 to hit the boar.
That'll definitely hit, and the boar is also slowed, so I think that also reduces its AC.
Right, so it's 1d10 plus 2. So that's 12 piercing damage.
Ooh, my
And
goodness.
it is grappled unless it can make... the target is grappled, escape DC 12. Until the
Oh.
grapple ends, the target is restrained.
Gator roll.
Dude, literally, yeah, you clamp your jaws around it, and just this boar just starts giving off that squealing sound. It is just giant creatures. Although it's a giant boar, so it's not like you've got it completely
Yeah.
at it, but I guess you've clamped it down enough where it can't like move very well.
But I think it gets to make a save right now to determine if it's grappled. By the
don't-
way this is reading.
I don't think so. I think it's as part of the attack, you instantly grapple, and then until the grapple ends, it's restrained, and you can't bite another target. The escape DC means that
Okay.
on its turn, it could choose as an action to
Gotcha.
just try
Okay.
to escape, which the DM hates because that's such a bad use of its action. That was a
Okay,
very effective.
And that is my turn.
Right, Kovac. And then that boar looks very injured from that too.
I'm gonna pull out my rapier, jump off the boat like Aragorn, and run at the boar.
Attack a boar while it's squealing and clutched in the jaws of a crocodile.
Boar is undead, right?
No, that boar is not. These six will definitely hit. For 21, you say?
Yeah.
Yes, how many hit points that boar had? You do an awesome leap and turn around in mid-leap and shove your rapier right into its ear, right when it like turns to look at you, and it just gives off and just falls limp.
And we'll shoot this at number 3.
Yes, 18 does hit for sure. Or radiant. That was some bursty burst damage. Bahn.
He will.
We're gonna
leap
roll
off.
their initiative.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Roll
we
their
reached the top.
initiative.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I knew I was gonna forget one way or the other. Something. Ooh. Good initiative rolls. But it is still Bahn's turn.
Okay. So
Four
I'll
board.
run
I
up
didn't get
toward-
to roll.
this first one right here, and he'll charge with his rapier. A 16 to hit. I don't know if this is the one that's slowed or not.
This is not the one that's slowed, but yeah, 16 does hit. They're not wearing a
Okay.
whole lot of armor.
I'm going to use Psychic Blades for 22 damage.
Whoa! Damn, there's like sneak attack shit with that. Yeah, that's some like good damage dice in there too. Alright, alright. 22. Does not quite fell the Reaver, but now he's spitting blood and looking really bad.
You're disgusting.
That's the end of my turn.
Alright, yeah, these guys are finally snapping too, although they feel their movements are sluggish, slow. Let's see. -2 penalty AC and dex saving throws. Can't use reactions. Can use either action or bonus action, not both. Can't make more than one melee or ranged attack during its turn. I think he gets to try again at the end of his turn. Okay. Alright, yeah, they stand up and begin yelling out in very like thickly accented common and said, "Intruders have found the cave.
You
Interrupt our
literally had a bonfire.
glorious feast. You'll be next." This one will rush at you, Bahn, screaming, one might say recklessly, to gain advantage on the attack, and has a great axe with your name on it.
Can I undo that advantage?
You can, I believe. That's
That
your
is-
clockwork thing.
Yes. Restore balance.
Okay. Is that a reaction for you to do that?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Alright, so without advantage, but he did still trigger the reckless, so you guys have advantage on him. And still hits with a 17.
Yep.
Or sorry, I assume that hits, but he
Hits.
gets a 17.
Minus nothing.
Wait, what happened there? The damage is... Are you guys seeing that too? The damage is
Teacher's
broken.
mistake.
Oh no, it was a foam
glitch.
axe the whole time. I wonder if because there's a space here. Let's get rid of this.
Bon dodges the first one.
Yeah,
Dodges the
it
second.
was an imaginary axe. Oh, it's still doing. All right, hang on. Let me just roll it again and see. Weird. I've never seen that happen before.
There
I
we go.
wonder-
No.
Oh, no.
Or what's happening?
One is, I see an 8. Oh, no, I don't.
All right, well, I'll do
Just
it
an
manually. Then.
attack. No
Yeah,
Yeah,
damage.
just the regular dice.
That's bizarre. I've never seen that. Yeah, I don't understand. It looks
What if-
everything's right.
No, that didn't work.
Well, we'll do it manually. I rolled a 2, so 5 damage, Bahn.
Okay.
Ow! I assume slow affects their movement as well. Movement
It
speed
is.
is
Yeah, half speed.
halved. Okay.
Okay. Now,
He's got to roll.
well,
That's
I guess
save.
it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, number 2 can then try to shake it off, right? Repeat the wisdom save.
Yep.
No, sir. Well, since this one can't reach anybody but Bahn, it will also 5, 10, 15 run up and try to ask you a question. And same thing, you'll go reckless to gain advantage. They don't seem they have any other way to fight. Swing with that Great. Okay, I clicked advantage. Their sheets are just fucked up. That's weird. What happened? Well, I get my advantage. Damn it. Let's roll it again. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's see if you crit.
Yeah, 22. I assume the damage. Yep, damage still fucked. This is so bizarre. Okay.
That one hurt.
D.
That's a big one.
Plus 3.
Oh wait, no, it's not 13. Okay.
No, yeah, it's I actually rolled worse damage. Damn, on a 4. Guys had their axes blunted. They're a little tired from the feast they had. What's the DC for the slow?
16.
Damn.
Haha.
Yeah. Those guys are still slowed, and Bahn's taking them very well because they're not getting very good licks in with the axes. Rye.
I want to say earlier in the day I'd cast Mage Armor.
We usually allow that. Yeah.
I'll click it just to get it off my list. I'm going to come up and swap places with Bahn, so I'm going to pull him back and get into his spot.
What?
Okay.
So if you could help me move on.
Yep.
There we go. And then I'm going to cast Burning. I wish I could explore.
That's next level.
Oh, you know what? Let's see.
Can I explode?
I was just double checking something. I'm going to cast Burning Hands. Would I hit all 3 as a cone?
I would be a shitty DM if I tried to say no, I think, with 3 of them right next to you, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to cast that at level 3.
Alright, and 2 of them are slowed, which means they have a -2 penalty to dex saves.
Yeah.
So,
Whole 15.
let's do the non-slowed guy first. A regular dex save. I assume saves are working fine. Still fails. And 15, he does a Wilhelm scream and engulfed in flames. And then number 2 would be a -2, which means that one fails with the slowed effect and takes 15 damage.
17 damage.
Oh, sorry.
The 2 and the 15.
Oh, you're right. I missed that. Yep.
Well, I rolled 2 1s, which is just sad, ridiculous.
Oh,
It says
the higher.
roll
the
1
higher-
times 2. I think you have it input wrong.
It might just be how it shows up. It's I don't know.
Oh no, I think you might be right.
It's how the UI like
There's
reflects.
just a 1+1, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, my bad.
like we're rolling 1 2 times. Rolling 1d6 2 times. Yeah, something like that. All right, so 17 damage. I do wish that Roll20 would just do the final math for me. That would be a little handy.
Yeah.
And then dex save on number 1. With his -2 puts him at 15, which I think still passes.
Yeah.
He was a 15, so he actually does make the save.
He takes half.
Okay. 1 dies, and 1 gets very singed, the other one gets semi-singed.
Alright, that's it.
Alright, Lucian.
Since number 2 is still slowed, I will mind sliver him.
Intelligence. Come on, secret college-bound berserker, go! No. That's so much on that one.
Takes 4 psychic. And -4 off his next saving throw.
Just screams. Like these are very unsettling. Like they look like just very cliche barbarians to where you're like, all right, guys, turn it down a notch. And these ones, especially when they're fighting, are just like screaming and frothing at the mouth. They just seem to be working themselves into a frenzy. And even when you like psychically blast them, it just like the blood comes down and just it seems like it's just getting off on it.
Yeah, I just look into one of the giblets and see the mess in there and try to rip his mind apart. I am angry.
Yeah.
Knock him into the fire.
I'll just back up a little bit.
All right.
Is there a fire?
There is. Right here, that's what's giving off the light source, too. Mostly smoke, but yeah, there's kind of fire all right next to him.
All right.
That's the bonfire
Well-
you described, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to jump back in the boat, if you don't mind.
Back in the boat.
So I'm going to crawl my way over here and attempt to rip the throat out of number 2.
To advantage because they were reckless. Their attacks.
Okay. So let me roll that.
Like, it's so scary to think about a crocodile intentionally coming for you, like with purpose.
I mean, they've been around since the time of the dinosaurs, man. Like, that's a pretty efficient organic machine right there.
21 to hit.
Yes.
So that's going to be
Weaponize the crocodiles.
crappy damage. 6. And
6.
he is grappled.
That's actually a really cool side effect to the crocodile.
Mm-hmm.
Because grapple is one thing, restrained, which I believe it also says happens, is a killer
Yes.
debuff. Restrained and slowed, you can't get much fucking worse than that. And still be conscious, I think. Yeah.
That is my turn.
Injured, but these guys are pretty hardy. Kovac.
All right. Is this place? I could stand here, or no?
Move back a little bit. Let me see what the. That would probably be like fire zone right there.
Okay.
I think I'd paint these 2 squares as being in the fire.
Okay. I'll move down here then. And shish kebab number 2.
And you also have super mega advantage due to all the bad things happening to this dwarf. He definitely hits.
Oof.
Team. Yeah, that's one of your lowest
Yeah.
attacks. It's hard to stab the dwarf when it's half in Io's mouth. You don't want to hit the croc.
All right. I'm gonna radiant beam the other guy. Did he go reckless too?
Yes.
All right.
Seem to do any other way.
And he takes 5 radiant.
Yeah. That's the dead one. Bahn.
Bahn will walk up and stab the one right here.
Still with advantage.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah.
And we'll use Psychic Blades for 20.
Yeah, still up. Both dwarves are looking pretty bad here.
Okay. I guess I'll stay there. Yeah, Bahn seems a little expectant, but yeah, he'll stay there.
Okay. This dwarf is in the clutches of a gator, and I don't think it's ever been in this situation before, but seems to invite the challenge despite the blood streaking all over his body. And he's still going to attack recklessly. All that's going to do right now is negate the disadvantage he would have in being restrained. And he's going to target you, Io. Just normal attack. of trying to escape because these guys just seem like they want to fight. But he rolls a friggin' 10, is not gonna hit. Just swinging wildly as you're like, yeah, just kind of roll him around.
I'm like shaking my head, like thrashing him around.
And still slowed. The other one will... Gosh, both Rye and Bahn are good targets. They both done some damage. We'll see what Token Fate says. Rye. So we'll go Reckless here. Lucian, I don't know if you want to do your thing or not. I'll pause for a moment before...
Yeah, I'll undo it.
Okay. Just a normal attack, targeting Rye with a great axe. 24. So close to a crit. This one gives off a scream of triumph as it have to roll for damage again. God damn it. 1d. Oh my gosh, my manual rolls are awful too for 5 damage. I have rolled not higher than a 2 on my d12. Still slowed. Go to Rye.
Alright. Rye uses gun hand to have the mage hand pull out his gun, his pistol, and shoot at number 1. Now, I will get advantage because of the reckless, right?
Yes. Is using a gun in melee and for disadvantage, or do you have...
Not with the...
your ability thing?
Not with gun hand and the mage hand.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes, 19 will definitely hit for 8 damage. Whip out that gun and pop him in the face.
Because it does a reaction too. Darn it. Missed. Hey, that feels weird. Yeah. That's my turn.
Alright, Lucian.
Let's go for number 2 again. Mind Sliver.
Oh, the blood vengeance too. Oh, 2 fails.
8 damage as more blood pours out of his ears.
I just keep twisting.
Yep.
Yeah. Why won't you die?
They're both looking pretty bad. You're not sure if they would keep fighting after they died, too. They just look absolutely ferocious. It does say you can't bite another target, so I assume you just bite this target with advantage if you were to attack.
Yep. So let me.
It's weird for me to think about it. Mechanically, you're like already biting them, but
a 12.
It's like a dinosaur having to reposition. Like,
now,
they get -2 off their AC.
Correct. Slow. Yeah, with with the slow and with your advantage, you do hit with a 12 because they are slowed.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so that's gonna be shitty damage. 4 damage.
Ooh, that's like my damage. this last 10% of the fight is gonna take a full like 20 minutes as everybody just suddenly can't roll anything for damage.
And let's say that I, with my movement, walk him and try to roast him over his own coals.
The tricky thing about that is you do have him in your mouth. So you imagine this would be. It's not like you've got him over like a stick or something. Like he's, you could try and drag him, but you'd have to get precariously close to the flames. But yes, I think
okay.
I think you could do that.
Thematically, he deserves it.
Roasted. How do you like it? Go ahead and roll a D6 of fire damage. him, obviously. Oof.
Ooh, a 6.
Yeah.
Mm.
Raked him over the coals.
And if I have to take damage, that's fine. I understand. I've put myself in harm's way.
No, it just if there was other factors going on or somebody was attacking you or something, it might be a thing. But at the current moment, it doesn't look like you're going to be in too much trouble. I'll probably put you here for that spot right there, because this is also fire spot. All right, Kovac. Both of these dwarves looking real messed up now. One of them is slowed, restrained in a crocodile's mouth, and on fire inside flames.
I will try to stab number 1.
He does hit for 20 damage. You, with one swift motion, just plant that rapier in the back of his spine, and he gives off just his final like death. He still has this wild grin on his face and just kind of sinks forward with a thud.
And this will go at number 2, Radiant Beat. Oh.
For 1.
Pew.
Fun.
Bahn will run around, getting hit with that radiant beam, still being up on fire in the mouth. Is this an advantage, or is it just a regular roll for number 2?
Oh yeah, you have like 4 things giving you advantage right now. Could not be more advantageous.
And we'll also, it's probably overkill, but we'll use Psychic Blades as well.
Yim appreciates you spending all your things at the
21.
That will also end this dwarf.
And with that, as he slides it in, he'll start whispering. Rye probably hears it. I guess so does Io. Kovac probably can't make anything out, but he'll start whispering, and you guys will watch as the shadow essence of this reaver dwarf will pull out of the body and go up the rapier and basically like attach like not really like a cloak, but like an amorphous thing just kind of around him. I'm using Mantle of Whispers.
Whoa.
So as a reaction, when a humanoid dies, I can capture the shadow of the person, and then I have the ability to use it. It will last until I use it or finish a long rest. When I choose to use it, I'll magically transform into a disguise that appears on me as if I was that person. It lasts for an hour. And then I gain access to all information that the humanoid would freely share with a casual acquaintance, such as general information on background, personal life. It doesn't include secrets, though. I would be able to pass myself off as that person by drawing on its memories. So
Wow.
I would get a good understanding of like the layout, the where we're at, what they're doing, why they're there, what the objective is, who the big guys are.
Wow.
I think that would be a big part of it. So I haven't used it yet, right? Like that's not the thing, but everybody sees this like amorphous like shadow just kind of clinging to Bahn a little bit.
So yeah, so when you do this, you gain this shadow charge all the way until you finish a long rest, and then it's your choice to utilize it as an action.
Yeah, I still have to use it to gain those things. Like I have to disguise myself as that thing, but nothing would break it. Basically, I could still walk in as a reaver dwarf.
Okay.
Whoa.
That's pretty cool.
That is the perfect spy ability.
There's another one alive.
Bahn was a reaver dwarf all along. You think you know a guy. That's awesome. And we will definitely explore the implications of how that works next time. I think this is a great stopping point for this session. I will mention the one piece of treasure you find in here. It literally looks like it was these dwarves like cooking and preparing this meat and fire. One of the dwarves has a bloody gold ring. Looks like it'd be worth about 50 gold pieces.
coupon, slips it in his pocket.
Don't forget the bacon. We just
Yeah, it's giant boar.
we got a lot of bacon.
You do have a lot of bacon. That's a big boar. All right. We'll
The mother load.
explore the rest of this site next time. I think that's what we're going to end our episode of Empire of the Ghouls. Thank you to Brandon, Christopher, Corey, Dory, and Genocider for playing, and to everyone watching this. And big thank you to all the patrons for helping make these sessions happen. Shoutouts to Platinum patrons Joe, Will, Thomas, Stan, Brandon, Genocider, David, Eclectic, Role Player Roll, Christopher, Brian, William, Corey, Koa1337, Big Nut, John, Chris, Scott, Gene, Eric, Dan, Tyler, Nathan, Camp, Crystal Lake Counselor, Big Ship, Andrew, Daryl, The Reldrin, and Matt. And gold patrons RPG Papercrafts, Pretty Boy, and Yuma, Dead Lizard Lounge, Sam, Lumpy Spuds, Jerome, Nathan, Fast Like a Tortoise, Scott, Refus, Carolyn, and William. We'll see you all next time.
Thanks for letting us play.